I can do it myself.
Right.
Yes.
I will find a way.
Yes.
I don't need to ask directions.
Right. Yes. The male ego, the very individualistic American man. I think men are much more American men, Western men, but even much more so, American men are much more so like being a man is doing it yourself. And I had a comment on a Facebook post a couple of days ago. A guy was asking me something to the effect of, Michael, kudos to you, you know, that you're able to make a business out of this, but I don't understand. I guess there's enough defective men out there that need help, you know, to pay for coaching or whatever. And you know, this perspective really puzzled me. But if you're someone who what you want in life is, you know, just to get by and have a nice life for yourself, and to be relatively comfortable, and you know, and he's living out his years in Thailand. He's definitely created like a nice, easy, simple life for himself. That's easy enough, yeah. However, if you want to rise and take on greater levels of responsibility and leadership with your family, in the corporate world, in the military, in any arena, then this requires something that is greatly aided by mentorship and by other men who've been there before.
Yeah, you talk about leadership, but you know, to me, it's a very simple comparison. Is always there's no Olympic athlete that doesn't have a coach.
Right.
It's not that coach is solving their problems. You know?
Right.
It's just the coach is there to help them get better.
Yeah, I've seen a famous musician pair. I'm forgetting their name right now, but one of them is like he I don't know if he really can't speak or he acts like he can't speak. And they did this show, you know, where they were mocking like life coaching, and it was the example they used was really ridiculous. Like to me, like there's a coach there's a client, and they like have some problems in their life, and then the coach tells them what to do, and I'm like, you know, to me it is absurd, you know, if you look at it like that. To me, that's I have no desire to engage in that kind of, let's say, I don't know, coaching.
The other side, what I took note of in what you were saying here is, because you were talking about leadership, that is something that you could get help in, grow in.
Yes.
That is a role you take on.
Yeah, there are journeys we can go on in life that for our victory requires our transformation, and the transformation means stepping outside of who you already are, how you already see the world. Yeah, you know, if you're going to cross the Amazon on foot alone, and you've never crossed it before, it would be pretty ballsy, but pretty stupid to just go it alone. If you're going to set out to do anything that has great risk involved, that you might otherwise not do on your own, you know.
But you also said this, to me this is interesting, you use the word transformation, and if this is what I've learned on my journey, if you go by yourself, you know, you can evolve. Your current self can see the next step, use some information and go there. But
it's like growth, right?
Growth.
You can grow. You can learn a bit here or there, and you constantly grow a little bit more.
Yeah. But if you seek to transform, to become someone new, your current self doesn't know how to, can't get you there.
Right.
You know? like that transformation, if we're talking about transformation, requires someone else to help you get there.
Yeah, because what you're essentially doing is the person that you're putting in control of your transformation is the one that wants to stay the same.
Yes.
You know, your ego is all about staying the same. It does not want to change. It does not want to transform.
There's a great scene in School for Scandals. The guy's a dating coach. I told you this, but this is very applicable right now. And they have this weekend workshop, and he starts by saying, "So we're gonna arrange a dating night." And he says, "Who here is Billy Bob Thornton? Who here of you owns a self-help book?" And they go. And he says, "Well, that's your first problem. You know, you can't be helped by you. You know, your current self sucks. You know, let me do the work." You know, and it's funny, but there's some truth to it. There's some truth to it that if you want to transform and go from one place to another, when I wanted to transform, my old self could not get me there. It cannot get me there.
Yeah. Yeah, in today's Western world, there can be shame around asking for directions, asking for help. Hiring someone to help you, a therapist, a coach, a mentor. But in, all healthy, long-lasting traditions, there's an incredible role for the elders and the mentors.
Great. Yes.
To not only to help show you a new way, train you, guide you, whatever, but my buddy O would often describe, like a rite of passage as something that the elders drag the man or the boy into.
Yes.
He talked about vision quests, like this is what he said. I'm going on his account. He's like, most native peoples, they don't want to go on their vision quests.
Yes.
They're comfortable with their life as it is.
Yes.
And it's something that they are obligated to do, is go through this rite of passage, this transformation. So you look at a lot of rite of passages to go from boy to man or boy to warrior in a culture. And when we were there in Kenya, this could mean like you're 14 years old, you're a boy, and you're publicly going to be like circumcised in front of the tribe with could be some somewhat sharp instrument.
Somewhat sharp instrument.
And this is just part of your rite of passage to become a man respected by the tribe. And you can't flinch. You can't show any signs of pain.
Wow.
But what boy wants to go through this?
Yes.
But after you go through this with the support of these other men, these other elders, you get to join them in this new identity and have the respect of all the tribe.
Right.
And the sum total of it is a transformation in your identity that then transforms the world that you're living in, the way you see the world, how you see yourself, and it opens up possibilities that weren't there before.
I see now because of. By the way, guys, this is an exploration. Okay, I see now a challenge for people who nowadays feel the call to be an elder for other men, be a mentor, be a coach, be in service of, because what the elders you described do have to their advantage to overcome the resistance of the boy in going through the rite of passage is that there's a structure, there's a culture in place that even though there is resistance to it, it will happen, and they will play that role in it. If we want to show up as elders and mentors, we don't have that. Like you're facing with the comment, for example, you could see the resistance of that man in it, and there is no culture in place that he will come to you and do that rite of passage, so to speak, in spite of his own resistance.
Yes.
So in a way, the challenge to be an elder these days is bigger than when that structure is in place.
Yeah, for sure. We talked yesterday about the kind of cheap, the cheap substitute that happiness and success is in our modern times for the much deeper, richer wealth of connection and everything that one would have as involved in a tribe and tradition that has a lot more meaning and brothers, elders, all of this. Let's see, I was coming back to here's where I was gonna go. So would often talk about also that, you know, when it's time for the young man or the boy to go on a rite of passage, oftentimes it's the elders, men in the community that show up at the house of the boy, and they take the boy at the protest of the mother, you know, possibly even of the father, who, that's their baby, you know, they want to keep them safe and comfortable and protected, and they fear what's going to happen to him in that dangerous world outside, you know, and the elders come and drag him out, you know, by his ear or whatever, you know, and then they're going to go on this quest out into the wilderness. You know, the boy might be left alone to fight for survival for months. And, you know, if he doesn't make it back, he doesn't make it back. It means he wasn't meant to be, you know. So these kinds of rites of passage and these kinds of roles for elders have been lost in large part. And you could find them in any enduring culture where the boy needs this rite of passage to become a man.
Yeah, I'm thinking of this. I talked to you about this movie a couple of times, Old School with Will Ferrell, and it's kind of, it's men who are of a certain age who've never gotten that sense of brotherhood, who've never gotten that rite of passage, and feel that deep yearning, you know. So when it is created, they really answer it, and part of it is like they select their guys and they go pick them up. You know, one is shopping with his wife, you know, and they
picking up guys to join the fraternity.
Yes, and they go and they go to the mom and take the boy in a way, you know. So they go to the shopping mall. They show up with the van like screeching tires, and he's just loading his food into the trunk, and the wife is next to him. They steal him away, you know, and the wife's like and they go through that. They kidnap him, and they go through that rite of passage. There's a real ritual there, you know, and they become brothers, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, and all that stuff is becoming shame nowadays, like the hazing that fraternities do, you know. Yeah, some dark stuff, some dangerous stuff can happen in those rites of passage, and yet it's a very powerful, valuable thing. So to bring this back into, you know, the challenge of being an elder, my brothers and I have a nephew who's in his early 20s, still living at home with my sister, who is she's very protective. She's very protective of her son, and we've been encouraging the son to leave home, go out on his own, make his own way for several years now. And to talk to her, he's not ready yet. You know, he needs some more preparation, you know, by her to learn how to maybe track his finances, to learn how to be responsible or whatever. And my perspective is this is just what he needs to do. He needs to go out in the unknown, be afraid, fight for survival,
be unprepared,
find his own way. And what's powerful about that is how he's going to know himself after he fights for that survival. He'll be a new man. He'll take on that next level of responsibility. But there's a great cost and consequence and risk to what many parents are doing these days, allowing their adult sons to stay living with them at home. You know, the food is prepared by mama, the clothes are washed by mama. You know, like, even if they're giving him some chores or tasks, they still have this drama between parent and adult son, where he doesn't want to follow their rules, but he has no authority to live on his own. Like, he has the responsibility, but not the authority. Anyway, yes, to come back to one of the intentions of our conversation today, I just wanted to present the idea of the domain of leadership as a great domain for men to pursue mastery in.
Path of mastery.
Yes. And again, if you are just going to live a simple life, you know, be happy, have some amount of success for yourself, and you're going to kind of do this very individualistic thing, like when people become uncomfortable, you know, you find some conflict with people, you just kind of cut them off, and you find your little square of the world to be comfortable and, you know, adapt.
You almost stop at the leadership of yourself.
Yes. And I would say you're barely leading yourself. You know, you're just finding comfortable existence to cope with the world as it is and find some measure of contentment. If that's what you're up to, which is what many men are up to, then leadership, you know, why pursue leadership?
Yes. Yeah, because it's only a challenge, it's only uncomfortable, it's only going to cause pain. There's no real.
But great wealth is available to the man who is willing to undertake a great quest for mastery and leadership, because what he can do is reclaim a lot of the riches that have been lost in the modern world, such as elderhood and brotherhood. Let's talk about this for a second. So a lot of older men today are deeply, deeply missing the ability to give their wisdom and their support to younger men. It's just it's a deep need that we have to help raise up and mentor and guide others. You know, once you've worked so hard all your life to attain this wisdom and this mastery, and in today's world, most young people, they don't want to hear it. They don't want help. I got this, you know. And so many older men are left in this situation of, well, okay, I guess I'll just find a comfortable retirement. I'll just kind of live for myself. And they miss the deeply meaningful, thriving life they could have, the honor, the difference making they could have as an elder.
Yes, and it's not just. I'll say this: it's not just you don't know what you're missing when you don't take it up, but it's such a great solution to all of this self-absorbed problems that we think we have. I have several men I'm working with now, and the starting point was the own questions that they would have, you know, and how to lead oneself and go to a next level in life. And a great practical solution has been to set up a way that they could take on the responsibility of being an elder for another man, you know, be it a coach, be it a mentor, or taking care of their brother. Just to take on, I say, to pick up that cross, but to take on that responsibility, it solves so much for a man, you know. It gets your ass in gear. Like if you know that there's another younger or another man who's counting on you, you know, to take care of him, you get your ass in shape.
Yeah.
You do the
Yeah.
right thing because you know you got to live by example.
Yeah.
But you also feel the honor of taking care of that.
Yeah.
So it's a great solution to whatever problems you
Yeah.
may think you have is to take care of someone else.
That's such a powerful point. You know, yeah, a lot of our problem is like self responsibility, self motivation, self guidance.
Yeah.
You know, because it's all about the self, and that's not natural. That is completely unnatural for the human. We are social animals.
Yes.
We come from living in close proximity to our people, and thriving and surviving is a group endeavor. You know,
Wow.
it's not an individual endeavor. You know, the individual man, back when the saber-toothed tigers were out, he's not living for a second. You know,
Wow.
he's not surviving.
So it's not even like first take care of yourself and then take care of the others. It's almost like there's a part that is when you start taking care of the others, you will be taking care of yourself. That's the way to take care of you. You know, to take on that responsibility.
Yeah, it's interesting because so much having to do with like group and community can seem like, oh, that's weakness, oh, that's socialism, communism, collectivism. Oh, that's, you know.
I didn't associate that. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, but if you're, you know, if you grew up how I did in America, in a conservative family, then, well, it's not entirely true. I mean, we were very much belonged to a church, you know, a church community. But yeah, man, like it's even to see, like one of my younger sisters, she with her family when they left the church. It's like, how do you replace all the richness of connection and values they got in that life, that community life? It was so rich with ritual and community and support and meaning, that even once she lost faith in the religion, she was still extremely tempted to keep taking her children to church and be active in there for all the other support that is. And just being alone, even just a nuclear family, like, okay, we're going to do this together, even that is in a way a poverty of what's normal. And so we try to fill this hole, you know, we're left to fill this hole of a lack of meaning, a lack of connection with, you know, our Netflix, our social media, our toys, our whatever. We're trying to create happiness and success as a replacement for this very rich, normal reality that we used to have.
I was just thinking of the men, you know, that are in my network, and I'm thinking of Federico and Christopher and Kai, and I'm talking to them when I say, just, you see what you could be there, Kai for Peter, Christopher for the man you're working with, and Federico for humanity, for all of men, which you could bring if you know, how show up and take on that role of the elder for them. You know, how beautiful that is, that you start doing that, and the weight and the importance of it, and the instant gratification and solution for the own issues that we're dealing with.
Yeah, I think of the business I did a few years back, the I Thrive docuseries with John McMahon, and he had spent a few decades depressed, and he'd grown morbidly obese, diabetic, from isolating himself. And you know, and there are whole philosophies that can help you rationalize and justifying isolating yourself from the world, you know, and trying to just thrive by yourself. It was at great cost to him. And when we started the I Thrive business, the docuseries follows his story, his journey. He poured out his heart to people, and he was there in service of people. And he lost all the weight. He found an amazing relationship. He found purpose in his life because he was in service. and it was much bigger than him losing the weight for his own personal happiness. He had something much bigger, and other people to fight for. And this is what's normal. This is what's biologically normal for the human, going back however many years we've been around.
Yes, we've been all over the place. How would you bring it all together? Or what's the biggest insight? What's the call?
The call is to, I would say, to embrace taking on a far greater level of responsibility. Be a leader, be an elder for your people, even if they don't now recognize you as such.
Yes.
Even if they have resistance to your leadership.
Even if it's harder, because there's no structure and culture around it.
Yes.
Yes.
It is possible, and there do exist tools and trainings and support to help you become that leader, that elder.
If you want to be an elder for someone else, I'm with you. I'll help. I'll stand next to you. I want to do that. So.
Yes. It's a journey that many people in today's world don't undertake. Many men don't undertake. They hope that they earn enough retirement to buy a house on the golf course and live out their days in front of the TV and golfing, and
which is not fine.
It's just a missing,
Yeah.
It's a deep missing.
Well, that's the whole point. Is like I wrote about this yesterday. Is that it's a deep missing, and you're missing out, and your soul is yearning for it. But unless you experience, you don't really know. Like I didn't know in my life I was missing adventure until I was on one. I didn't know what it meant to have allies and the power of that until allies showed up. I didn't know the power of honor and allies and elders until it was happening. And so, yeah, I just want to testify to it. And if there's anyone who has a glimpse of like there's something in what these bearded bald guys are saying that resonates, and there's a little voice, it's answer it. And when you answer it, I want to be there.
Yeah, check out some more of our Ronin Radio podcasts on YouTube or on our Facebook pages. Going a couple years back.
Or the seduction show. Seduction show.
We're just returning to these podcasts. And I'm currently in the process of designing a business model that will include as a intentional byproduct the reflowering of brotherhood and elderhood and honor in the world, like the spread of this in the world, rather than what tends to happen with a lot of business models is it isolates you, the businessman, the business owner, more and more and more, and isolates the employees. And it's our current mode of doing business nowadays. For many people, that is their culture. They spend most of their waking hours in the office, talking to their coworkers, dealing with their boss. And again, this is a very poor, cheap substitute for what men used to enjoy, being out on the hunt with their brothers, no tie, no corporate pretenses, just raw in nature and on the hunt, or in the field. Hans is vegan or plant-based, so he may not resonate too much with the hunt.
Well, with danger also.
Yes. Or on the battlefield. The deep meaning and connection that's there is we are starving for it in the modern world. So anyway, that to say that this is one of the things I was struggling with as I went on sabbatical, and I now I'm coming back to my work. We have a couple events coming up in late September, early October in Medellín. You can ask us about that. But the whole purpose is to restore eldership, elderhood, brotherhood, honor in the lives of men. Yes.